Yeah, so this is a really, intense deep dive, that is for sure.
Yeah.
I think both of us have experienced so much pushback with trying to just even get here today.
No, absolutely. Like the live stream wouldn't work. They wouldn't let me set up the live stream. Yesterday we had issues. Now we had issues today. I couldn't even put the description in. So, basically we were lucky to just be able to go live. And then hopefully we can get this up on your channel too later. And
I'm actually wondering if it is live right now on YouTube. Are you seeing anyone being able to see it? Like, can we get a 5 by 5 by everyone watching in the comments? Maybe like, I don't know, let us know if you can
we're
see us
definitely
here.
live. Like
Okay.
we're
Okay.
definitely let me see here. It's just
Okay.
taking a while to load on my but I have the screen up. Yeah, we're definitely live on YouTube for sure.
Okay, I see here. Yeah, you had to do a different link. Okay. Yeah, well, what we're talking about is just it's so much torture, so much trauma, so much MK Ultra, so much psychological governance warfare using the Epstein files as a tool. I mean, the more that I get into all of this, I would say the Epstein files are laced by the archons, it's laced by the satanic forces, and it's just a fraction of, what's going on with the negative ET operations, like black op military operations, and just all the negative overlays that run over the Epstein Islands. Like, this isn't what the islands were intended for. You know what I mean? Like, there is a whole natural organic flow of energy that functions down in the US Virgin Islands. It's a very sacred place in a lot of ways. I mean, it's called the Virgin Islands for crying out loud. You know what I mean? Like that's something that signals purity. That's something that signals innocence and something that shouldn't be touched, something that shouldn't be, you know, pedophilia or whatever, if that's a word.
Yeah.
But so no, it's really crazy. And it's definitely, what we've picked up on just like trying to get here today. We've both been spiritually attacked.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then also the delays. So, what's connected to these laced files? It's not only the satanic, rituals that are running through, which are active. I think it creates loss of the soul. It activates vampirism. It isn't safe for women and children, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And it's just scary, all the things that are being done in secrecy. I think it's creating a lot of distrust with everyone and everything. These private islands, like they have controlled harbors, they have controlled luxury enclaves. I mean, the airports that were, knew about all of this basically surrounding the Epstein Island. Like, I mean, there's so many people that are implicated in this. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. So,
It's
I mean,
it's crazy. Yeah. And more is coming out every day. And like it's like people that like Deepak Chopra like was in the Epstein files. I thought that was like it's like people that you wouldn't think would be in there are absolutely in there. You know what I mean? And it's like he had his web. He was if you were like famous at all, he was trying to get his web into you. So like he could get that like so he could almost try to like poison someone's mind. You know what I mean? With whatever he was trying to do. He was a very strategic psychopath, and you know what I mean. Like like it was like he was reaching out. Like, for example, like it shows in the Epstein files that he tried to reach out to Joe Rogan, but Joe Rogan turned him down. I'm guessing Joe must have had some kind of inkling about what was going on there. You know what I mean? But a lot of people that were on Joe Rogan definitely went there. Not went there, but like are in the files. You know what I mean? So it's strange. Like Elon Musk shows up in the files. Like it's really weird.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I think they released, it was like January 30th. They published 3 million pages. So that's images, videos, that's a lot of stuff. I think what I've noticed is that though at the same time, like, yeah, all these people are connected, but at the same time, I think there's a ton of altered media that's going around as well. Like, also think things are getting exaggerated out of proportion to some degree. I think there's some sense of sensationalism that's happening with this. There's some there is a level of muddy in the waters. And I think it's difficult because people are looking at this and they're going, okay, like like to the worst of it, right? To the eating of the little ones and like the harvesting of the achrome, all of this, right? Which is stuff that's, it's fathomable. It's not unfathomable at this point. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I mean, and this is where like I'm getting a little bit I'm wondering where things are getting muddied because I told you I watched the Epstein Files documentary called Filthy Rich on Netflix, which I highly recommend anyone to watch that because it was really, really good. The stories do like seem somewhat conflated, but the stories are still relatively like effing evil, if you know what I mean. Like what was established in that specific documentary. But I mean, like, I don't know. At this point, it's just, I think it's important for people to really maintain a level of discernment about this. Because I think there is a lot of manipulation that's being pushed through social media. Like you said, all these people, Joe Rogan, da da da. Like I woke up one morning and Zohran Mamdani as a baby was there with Epstein. Like,
I know,
and
right?
come to find out those files were fake. Those were supposedly those had been debunked. And I'm not like on Zohran's team by any means. Trust me. You can record back to some videos that me and Rob did. Like, I'm not
I
on
know
board
you
with
don't like
Zohran.
him. Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
like him. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, people should know that if they follow us. But but like, yeah, for the people that are tuned in for the first time, like, yeah, it's well known that you're not you know, yeah,
Not
yeah,
a Zohran fan. Yeah. But I mean, these files, I think they've been, blackmailing people for quite some time. I think we got into Michael Jackson and this whole thing now stirring that uh, really, Michael Jackson was trying to save the children from Epstein Island. That Neverland Ranch was actually to like help children that were being taken and being harvested on the islands to like, redirect them to a safe place. Macaulay Culkin came out and like publicly, said that Michael Jackson was doing this, was saving kids from Epstein Island. So, you know, that's a deep wormhole itself. And if,
that's something
Michael,
that I
yeah,
wanted to talk. I wanted to talk. I'm sorry, I mean to interrupt you, but I thought that was crazy because we both talked about the fact that maybe Michael was being set up, the whole time, like
yeah,
because he was. I mean, like we know he was a little like weird and bizarre and a little. He was like off for sure, right? But like the question is, was he a pedo? And I think like that's what they're saying. He was more set up to look like that by the people that like because you're saying he was actually trying to save kids from what you found out, right?
yeah, from what I heard, it's not like I have any way to verify these things. I don't think any of us have any way to verify anything, like
Yeah,
it's a lot of like we're all just watching the shit show from the outside, but that to me I always felt, I mean, Michael Jackson was never charged with anything.
yeah,
Everything that, he went through, he went to trial and like I guess he came out clean. So, and I mean, I don't know, something if you've actually listened to Michael Jackson's music and like resonated with it on a soul level, I could say like a lot of his music was geared towards like helping people, helping children, helping the world wake up, helping people see. I think that Michael Jackson, like he just was ran through the business as a child, right? And his childhood was taken away from him because he was working since he was 5 years old. So I think he had some sort of affinity towards children. Like he like, seen like the godlike essence to them and like tried to like help them, but I don't know. But like it's hard and it's sad to watch all these people be tied to this. Could it be that this one man was this sick madman and he, was just living out his perversions because he had so much money and power? I mean, that really is what it seems to me, is that he just had so much power. He owned pretty much the Palm Beach police station when he lived in West Palm Beach. I don't think there's any way that Trump can't be connected to this or not knew what the heck was really going on. I mean, they lived in the same freaking city for crying out loud. You know what I mean? Like, and we know that Mar-a-Lago and West Palm Beach, that's known for, all the housewives, they're on Acrom, that's what we talked about before, that buzz that you feel down there. Well, where are they getting their supply? Well, it's getting harvested out of the ball temple on little Jeffrey Epstein Island.
Yeah.
So, that's one thing I think we have to look at today when we kind of go into this in terms of the grid. I think we should look at like the connection points from the ball temple to the real ball temple. I mean, ball was all about immorality. Ball was all about perversion and, you know, preying on the innocent and on the weak and, child harvesting and all these satanic, things. It's just, it's horrible. It's why we're getting attacked is because it's like we're tapping into a living hell field. That's what the Epstein files are. It's a real living portal to the underworld. And if you don't want to get sucked into it, you might want to put some shields up. You might want to seal your field in light, recite some, organic commands to source, calling and anchoring in light, because this is very active satanic energy, and it's a living field that's moving its way through the collective, and it's connected, to a very disgusting and wicked blackmail ring. And it's just yeah, it's brutal. It's cruelty and brutality, and it's unacceptable. And I think personally, and sorry, Rob, if I'm over talking any space here, but I think that it's what tells you that this is sickening is the collective is more obsessed, lustfully obsessed with what's in the files, who's in the files, what, da da da. Does anybody give a crap about these victims? Does
That,
anybody
that
like,
I wanted to say the same thing. That's the horrible thing that we're doing. People are overlooking that, and I said this. It's almost like people are almost like not glamorizing it, because I think people see the horror in it, but I don't think people are realizing the exact horror in it. Like some of these people that never came back. You know what I mean? A bit, like, I mean, let alone the women and children that were tortured and did make it back and have to live with that for the rest of their life. But a lot of people didn't make it back, and some people are buried off of Zora Ranch. Like I told you that, I asked Psychic Liz Cross about this when I had her on my show. They definitely found a couple women's bodies off of, beside Epstein Zora Ranch. So I'm willing to bet that there's bodies on the regular Epstein Island, and then his Zora Ranch too. So, or yeah, I mean, I'm just, what's going on is crazy. It's unfathomable to us because we don't live that way. You know what I mean? Like especially like we're in like in this community, like we're kind of like fighting against this stuff, right? But like, and then we hear about it, and it's hard to fathom, right? But like now it's like everything the conspiracy theorists said is actually coming true. It's like we were right all along, and it's sad, it's horrible to say that, but like it's true though. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. There's so much to this. I think that's why the grid can help us bring in some further details. Um, the more you start to tune in to the grids, and we're looking at it from the maps perspective, but we're also psychically reading. I think that the Epstein Islands is a psychic outpost anyways, where we're actually tapping into multi-dimensionality. We're tapping into what exists along the Epstein Islands, because it's actually a chain, right? And I'll show that when I pull up the
Yeah, I'm
map.
excited for this. I'm excited for you to do the grid breakdown, and I think a lot of people in the chat were saying that too. That they're excited for that part. Like, let's do this. Let's
Yeah.
go ahead, Dora the Explorer. Me and India always joke around. We say she's Dora the Explorer with her maps, but
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I
Well,
just
I'm
want to say,
I'm I'm a planetary grid reader and gridwork facilitator, and I am a guardian anchor as well. So I feel like I've been initiated and I've been trained by many different celestial intelligence bodies that have kind of guided me how to do this work and how to look at, all of this at a psychic level. So let me just let me
I just want to say that we've been doing shows for 3 years now, so there's no one I'd rather be with on Valentine's Day and do a deep dive on with you. I'm excited about this.
Thank you. Wow. Well, me too. This is fun. Like, and I just want to say too to everyone watching, if you've been trying to get a hold of me, I've been tapped out. Or if you've been waiting for a session with me, I've had to reschedule all my sessions in the last couple weeks as well, because I have been working so hard on, some things behind the scene that I haven't been able to really focus on anything else. So this is like, me coming back to light here.
Well, tell them you've been working on your book. You've been working really hard on your book. Like
Yeah, I had to take a step back and take the manuscript back, and I had to, work on some formatting things that kind of required my full attention. So it was a difficult thing at first, but it was a good thing in the end because I was able to customize some things that I would otherwise not have been able to customize and things like this. Um, yeah, okay, so I'll just pull out all the way. So I just wanted to show you guys, how interesting it is, where it's located, I think is very significant compared to, where the Bermuda Triangle is, SS3, West Palm Beach, okay, SS2. So we definitely have a very powerful like ley line and corridor here, and also a lot of triangulation. I think that's connecting down to the Venezuelan grids. And it's just so interesting that me and you just did that update on, recently Venezuela was,
with Gene and Carrie.
yeah. And we had tuned into the narco boats and the locations of the narco boats, which is all here. It's in this Stargate corridor, an array of islands. I mean, this is basically like an energetic channel. You have the Atlantic tectonic plate on this side and the Caribbean plate on this side converging in this ridge. So this is like a very high energy point that rides kind of like a spine. I would say it like goes up to those Stargate locations. So you could see how like in terms of ley lines, all of this is energetically connected down and through the ridge zone. And if you look at it in terms of like just this ridge in this Caribbean area, like the center point is kind of about here. I
Yeah,
mean, maybe,
Puerto Rico.
Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico. Yeah, it is this area. So that's a signal as to why things are so amplified here, why things are so hot here is it's telling us a story. There's energy activations that are going on. I tell you
I was gonna say it seems like right there it's coming to like an energetic focal point. Would that be true or like or
totally. Yeah, totally. That's exactly what's going on. That this is a focalized here for not only to expose what's going on in the islands, but to expose really what's going on in these high energy zones. Um, Now, the more I tuned into this, the first thing that I tuned into, and this kind of overrode what's going on here. So I'm gonna like zoom in here more, and we're gonna look at, what is the energy network here within the islands, because there is definitely a vortex here of about 4 different locations that is the heightened zone. Not because of what's going on with Epstein, because of how the organic energy is flowing in that region. So I'm going to explain what that is. But this trench zone became very, very, it stuck out to me right away. I started tuning in with this trench and just things started coming up psychically. I started to kind of look deeper into this and started to kind of have some ideas of what's going on down in that trench. Um, there is so I came across a post from a United States Tennessee Congressman, Tim Burchett, and he says specifically that he knows of 5 or 6 underwater bases on low, shallow trenches, hollows hidden deep in the U.S. ocean waters.
can I
Uh,
can I make a comment now? But people don't know Tim Burchett. He was the one. He's been really active in the UAP hearings. That's something to note. He's been really active in trying to bring disclosure. He's definitely invested in the UFO UAP phenomena. You know what I mean? So he would be investigating underwater bases and stuff. Now, whether those are alien too, I would be willing to bet they are. I feel like a lot of the times, whatever lays the groundwork for the military is aliens behind the scenes. You know what I mean? And I feel like they're working with aliens behind the scenes. I can't prove this, but it's just like it's just like all the black ops technology that we have. You know what I mean? From the TR3B to V2K to like everything that the government's basically using for themselves to gain a profit, and everything they're using against us is probably coming from aliens. I would be willing to bet. So that's where I think where I was going with that is why that's what I think about the basis too. What do you think? Like,
yeah, thanks for throwing that in there because that just like adds the value, adds the credibility right there. Like you're on point. Yes. Yeah, down in those massive trenches, like ET military installations. What I was getting psychically was that there was mega cities. Like, and this is multi-dimensional underwater technology. It's not just like one thing or the other. I think it's like a civilization, like a submerged civilization, whether whatever type of underwater beings or negative ETs would be a part of these megacities. And then they would have their section and branches as well, of military installations that are underwater, some that are working underwater, and then coordinate with US Black Ops military operations and then sections that would be working with off-world. And I think this was a theory that we had, like, with the underwater Orion Stargate over in the Gulf of Aden, that there very well could be Orion underwater ports that are taking them off planet and they're actually coming up underneath through the water versus something that would be more open, like a Stargate like Giza or Machu Picchu, where you have this like aerial Stargate and they're interdimensionally coming in and out, that it actually would be more, um, I don't know, lucrative for them to be coming under the water versus that way, because of the inner Earth gateways and passages and things like this. So, yeah, and not only that, so what I was seeing is that they would be building, their cities or installations along the side walls of the trenches versus just here. Nothing's going to be like here. So, I mean, things would be hidden because they would be looking for safety. They would be looking for to stay, to not be seen, just as if we were living in the mountains, we wouldn't just like pop our place like in the middle of something somewhere. We would like build into the mountain. We would build. So that's kind of what I was seeing, is that they're building in and then they're building into the trenches within the trench. So the deeper grooves that actually go in the ridges and walls. And that was I think it was called the Panagata Trench. Do you want me to show you this picture
Sure.
that I showed you the other night? Yes, because I think this really gives like people a idea of this trench and what all could be involved inside of that, right? Like when you see it from this different
Yeah, I got to see this
point.
live the other night, but the audience hasn't saw it yet. So yeah, they're gonna love it. I mean, this is really good. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think so this Anagata passage is very significant. This is where I think if, they're hiding like the worst of these ET military installations, that it would be in this Anagata trough right here.
Can I ask you a question? Do you think Epstein was privy to any of this? Do you think that like he was like working with like Black Ops and like Arkeem, like when I had Arkeem on my show, Arkeem came out with it. He said that Epstein was connected to something called Teachers in Space, believe it or not. Like you believe which sounds crazy, but like, so like he was kind of saying that he could be connected to somehow the SSP or some kind of Black Ops faction. So I mean, like what resonates with you psychically? Do you feel like he was like keyed into some of this stuff?
Psychically, I feel like it doesn't matter if he was or wasn't aware of it or not, that everything is linking in kind of like a universal tree of life, an inverted universal tree of life. So it's all black gooed together through like ulcerative circuitry or like black sun energy, Leviathan energy that's kind of like tentacle-ish. So like he would just kind of be the iceberg or the head of it. He's not realizing what's maybe entangled to him to the level or degree in which it is, or maybe he was aware. I don't know. I mean, I feel like I've been seeing the same things as what you're saying. That, there's many of these different classifications of organizations that are tying into this. One being that the harvesting that's going on, like this may be a massive human trafficking operation, which we know is happening. We know it's true. We know that's one of the reasons why the whole shebang went down with Venezuela. That's another tip of the iceberg. Of course, it's connected up through the chains. Of course, that outpost of the Big Island and the Little Island is CIA organization. I mean, here's why I'm saying this. Here why I feel like I can just say this, like, yeah, I think this is pretty much true. Because a lot of people recently, like YouTubers and stuff, what I've been noticing anyways, I'm going back to the map here if it's going to come back on. Okay, is they've been coming out to the islands to see if they can come and like scope it out, and check out the islands themselves. And like, these islands are still operational. These islands still have a ton of people on them. These islands, like you can get a jet ski from like here and you can ride over. But if you even ride around this or anything, there's like there's secret security, right? Like certain security operations that are going on there. Like these islands are full on secured, full on surveillanced. You cannot get onto the islands. You cannot go near the islands. They'll chase you off in boats. They'll chase you off by finding out who you are. They'll get your cell phone number. They'll start tracking you. They'll start attacking you. A lot of these YouTubers that have tried to get out and like check out what's going on the islands, like some of them went missing.
No
Li-
way. Are you serious?
Literally, some of these kids have gone missing, yes, because they've
Holy
gone out and
shit.
tried to get on and see what's going on with the islands. There's still people living on the islands doing what they do. I mean, but nobody can get close to the islands. Nobody can go and check it out. Nobody can verify anything. They're tied. They're like something is going on.
Holy
Something
shit.
seriously going on that this is off limits still. So,
And you know what? I think that's why we had so many problems streaming today because, like, a lot of people are talking about, like, the Epstein files themselves, but nobody's breaking down. Not one person. I haven't seen one person break down the grids and like what's going on these islands and try to put this together. You know what I mean? Not one person has done this yet. So you know.
well, yay us.
Yeah, you. I mean,
Yay us.
you always have original content. You know what I mean? Like it's not just this is like this is disclosure. People want
Yeah,
to
it's
disclosure. This
disclosure.
is disclosure
Yeah.
because this involves underwater military bases, UAPs, USOs. I'll say USOs as compared to US UAPs because people have seen unidentified submerged objects. Around these islands. So
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. I think this is some sort of outpost for, you know, trafficking to off-world or submerged ET civilizations. I mean, it's got to be. I mean, look at the relevance to where this trench is and to where the islands are, you know?
yeah.
It is very auspicious, you could say, that it's right, in the middle of all this. And then not only that, so just to put it in perspective, that deep trench, the deep, deep trench that I showed you in the picture, this is that deep trench here.
Yeah. You know what Jason just said in the chat? My friend Jason, he's one of my mother. He said he sent me a video. I got to watch it of there's tunnels on the island as well. So it was, that which would make sense because they're probably going underground to deep underground military bases or military installations on the ground as well, as far as the sea. They're probably connected in.
Right, right. So yeah, think about that. Like those tunnels, yeah, they could go right into those trenches. So they could be smuggling people, human, children, organs, achrome right from the islands and have direct corridors and direct passage into those locations. And with those underwater submerged installations, when I was tuning into them psychically, what I was getting is that some of them were partially physical, but some of them to me also looked partially phase shifted, like as if they were also, you know, a part of another density or another dimensional reality.
And that's what I was going to say. Is there a Stargate around here, from your knowledge, that like would be facilitating the interdimensional or off-world activity?
What I was getting is that this is a chain of Stargate islands, that they're all prepubescent Stargate locations. Hence virginity,
How fitting.
new Earths, right? So these would be potential new Stargate island chains. Um, and it's kind of on a dragon spine itself. Like this is technically a dragon ley line. And how you know that is like when I'm tuning into this, like how are they powering these bases underneath? What I got was it's free energy. This is the part of the earth where it generates the most free energy. And so this is how they're powering mega cities, powering installations, powering USOs, powering UAPs, just, you know, all of it, that they're tapping into the free energy off the tectonic fault caverns. And so but so it's deep and extensive, and it's hard to, put it all together, but it's going from everything from controlling what's on the 3D surface level of the maritime, traffic laws, but then also, every logistic element of that, and then all the timelines that are like linking into this.
Sovereign Cosmic Wildman, the chat brought up a good point. He said, why they got to call those islands virgin? You know what I mean? After what we know what's going on there. And just like how you said the islands themselves seem to be like prepubescent stargates. So they're early, everything there that's going on is like with like a virgin-esque type essence. You know what I mean? Like the fact that they're bringing, I mean, I hate to say that, but the fact that they're bringing kids and stuff like that on there, it's very strange to me. You know what I mean? That's weird. What do you think is up with that? Like, do you think it's the energy or something?
Yeah, definitely. I think the Virgin Islands, like it is you don't get what you see here. Let's just put it this way, okay? But yeah, it's virgin. It's implying a state of being untouched, innocent, uncorrupted. It's representing a connection to higher consciousness. It's anywhere where there's like islands, technically those are like dragon eggs. Like if we're looking at it in terms of like guardian terminology or something like this, like they're considered dragon eggs, which is like this is the birth of new land, technically. Like in, thousands of years from now, these islands will be a part of something bigger, and they'll create, they will be the new land in which new races get to live on, type of thing. So they are untouched in essence, and they foster the quality of innocence. And so, yeah, it's being exploited by billionaires looking up to claim purity without greed and lust, and satiate themselves in satanic worship, and offer, all this, you know, uh, SRA to ball or whatever. Like, I mean, that's what I was looking at, is like, where is the original Baal temple? According to
Jason just said, and while you're looking for the ball, Jason just said in the chat that or what's her name, he said Gizzy Max had a huge interest in Atlantis. So Ghislaine Maxwell supposedly had a big interest in Atlantis, which I find that interesting. You know what I mean? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Well, when you look at like the original Baal temple, which is Syria Palmyra,
Yeah,
I'm trying to, like, I know it's like hard on the eyes to zoom into all of this, so you just have to bear with me, but I have to click, 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 click.
it's okay.
But yeah, they're all square. They're all cubes.
Palmyra.
They're all cubes. I mean, this is the original Baal temple I'm tuning into. Let's see if I can get to it. My goodness. But yeah, do you see how it's a cube? I mean, they're all square cubes.
Yeah,
This is typical for all six satanic temples across the board.
kind of like the Islamic cube now that we know about, right?
Right. I'm sure there's a generating ley line that goes down to the Kaaba. Yeah, for sure. No doubt about that. But, I wanted to see because um I really think there's these ley lines correlate. I think this ley line correlates to the Jeffrey Epstein Island, and this is being exposed for the first time. I mean, for us, like, we're waking up to that realization, like these ley lines are generating to these ancient temples, because what tuned me onto that was Hillary Clinton. We know how she ties into this, and Bill Clinton was, photographed multiple times on the island having orgies with 12-year-old little girls and things like this. And so, I mean, the Clintons have secretly been trying to uncover a lot of these static god temples, such as Gilgamesh. There's a whole thing about Clinton going over the reason why we went to Afghanistan was so that they could uncover and locate the Gilgamesh temples. They know, I mean, if they are actually Freemasons, this is why Freemasons are so dangerous, is because they are taught grid work, okay? That's what they're using, things like grid work or for SRA, right? They understand that they go and uncover artifacts from those satanic temples, such as the Temple of Gilgamesh or Baal, and bring it back to where their ritual offerings are taking place, that they're tying together those energetic cords, and they're getting more sustainment, more power, and they're unlocking the codes and tying that energy into their offerings. And I guarantee that's what's happening.
So there's like evil versions of grid work, kind of like there's like an evil version of like energy and ley lines, and like understanding energetic grids. There's like an evil version of that. I
For
think
sure, for sure. You can use anything for black magic, you know? Anything can be hijacked, and anybody who's a true astute occultist or knowledgeable, working within the realms of magic is going to understand those ties. And that's like if they are 33-degree Masons, which I think Hillary Clinton is one, because there is a whole female category of this, believe it or not. There's female Freemasons. They have the knowledge to do all of this. And honestly, a lot of it's taught in the universities and the colleges that they go to anyways. This is how they get initiated.
yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, I just wanted to tie that ley line. I think that has some sort of significant play over to the Epstein Island. I know it's kind of far away, but I really think that the ley line taps in and is generating energy. Just, when its relativeness to the Bermuda Triangle is really, really significant. Let's tune into this. Let's get a little closer. Oh, let me go back
That's
into
60. We got close to 60 people in the chat. That's being good for not being able to advertise it, like, you know.
Let's go. Thank you guys for joining
Hey,
us.
guys, if you can, like, we had a really hard time getting this to stream. I don't know what's going on. It could be something energetic. Definitely share this out with your friends and, share it out if you can, that way it gets the video more attention, and subscribe to Indy's channel on YouTube and subscribe to my channel. And thanks for being here, guys.
Yeah, and put a big like on this video and drop us a comment. Let us know what you guys think about this.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely leave some comments. Yeah, we definitely need that too, for sure. We already got 27 likes on it too already. So yeah, this is cool.
yeah, let's go. And those donations always help too. Any way that you guys can give back, just for the hard work that Rob's always doing here on YouTube. It's really appreciated.
Yeah, for real. Thank you. Yeah.
Well, I want to say, so what I thought was very important to notate is because I thought, well, if Mr. Epstein, which he doesn't own these islands anymore. So, when he was supposedly in prison and supposedly committed suicide, which we know there's a lot of, tampering that went into that the FBI came in and removed the videos, and that he's probably alive somewhere. That he, like, it was like 2 days before that happened, he transferred everything like into a trust, and I think he gave or Stephen Deckoff currently owns them. So I don't know if he just inherited it from Epstein or if they were sold to Stephen Deckoff, but he currently owns Little St. James and Great St. James. And I think that would
Now, who is that? Who's Stephen Deckoff? Like, is he another pervert or pedophile?
I mean, I would think probably. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know for sure, but I mean, I think he was his lawyer. How did it, I think he was his lawyer. So how does lawyer get the islands? I think he bought them in 2023 for $60 million. So, so yeah, I think that guy needs to be looked at, because why are these islands still in full operation? Why are the islands not being investigative? All of this attention goes on to Little St. James. Well, you have your SRA temple over here, all the underground tunnel systems that are linking in maybe to our underwater megacities. But have we looked at these outposts? I mean, there's outposts here on this island. They're lookout posts. I mean, there's something going on here. I'm just going to put lookout posts that I I don't think these islands have been investigated. Oh, the FBI raided it and went in and got files and computers and da 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 da. But did they look and explore the buildings? Did they look over at Great St. James? Because there's a ton of people living over here, okay, that live on these islands, that are doing stuff on these islands, that are operating out of these islands. Did they check for dead bodies over here? Did they check for dead bodies over here, in the well rocks where they could very well throw some people down into the dumps? You know what I mean? Like, this is a whole compound operation. It's not just this little island.
Yeah, and I mean, I would say it's probably a worldwide operation. You know what I mean? Because, like, if you watch the movie The Sound of Freedom, which was about like human trafficking of kids and pedophilia and all that, like with Jim Caviezel, I believe it was a big movie, but like what they were shown was that it's like this internet network where they communicate with each other on like the dark web and stuff like that, where they that's where they advertise these what like the people they traffic. And I don't even want to say, it's sickening to say, you know what I mean, but like that you find out that it's a whole web, like, which is crazy. It goes back to like Renetta talked about the spider, and like why it's like a web, it's always a connecting web or something, like
Well, they hide parts of the web because I mean, along these islands, what they're doing is like one thing I couldn't find was any public records for who owns the rest of the islands. So
yeah,
if you try to look up public records, like there's barely any public records for who owns them, very limited information. It's hard. They limit it. Who owns the villas? Who owns the estates? Who owns the ownerships? Okay, who owns the all the villas that are on this big island? It's
yeah,
kept in secrecy. You can't find it. There's no list for it, no nothing. It's all behind hidden firewalls. Everything's behind a hidden firewall. All the LLCs, all the trusts, all the companies. There's no complete public roster of billionaire villa owners in the Virgin Islands. Why is that allowed to be kept so secretive and difficult information to come by? Because if we could know that, then we would absolutely break down this whole, you know, Caribbean off-world human trafficking organization. Like it's the pedophilia is probably the lowest form of it at this point
yeah, yeah. You mean
of
a
what's
lot more?
actually going on.
Yeah, like cannibalism and other crazy stuff, right? Like human sacrifice, cannibalism, all the things that we can never imagine are probably going on. Like the things that you don't want to imagine are probably happening, and we saw that in the files, right? You know what I mean? We saw that that's like public record that a lot of this really crazy shit was going on in the files. They were doing things that were very Luciferian or satanic. You know?
Yeah. Uh, yeah, absolutely. So what just I was kind of getting some more images. So some of the things I was seeing like in the remote view too with the corridors under the water, like the mega cities. So I seen some things where like they were creating like free energy. Like I seen rotating plasma, like crystal spheres. Um, I seen like there was some sort of liquid metal alloy they had that was self-regenerate itself in these mega cities. Like they have some sort of technology down there. Remoting in, I also seen that there were like maps floating. I seen maps floating in the air that were showing like the shipping routes. And then I seen that these shipping routes were the same routes as like what's the trafficking routes are the same routes as the shipping routes, which are the ancient Atlantean, like some of them were slave trade routes, but they were like the old ancient Atlantean routes that it links into that structure energetically.
Yeah.
Um, because it's like some sort of emotional density field that's pulling things into it. Um, and then there's something down here that's acting like a brain. There's something down here that's like a big brain that is kind of like an abyssal energy, and it's like constructing like a maestro, all these different things in the entire Caribbean.
I got to ask you a question about that. What do you think of the fact that it could be some kind of Lilith, like Cthulhu succubus type, or not succubus, but like Lilith, Cthulhu spider type entity? Because that's what Renetta thought. She thought that like there could have been some like kind of like, I don't know, like Lilith Cthulhu monster.
Very well could be. Very well could be. And what that just brought up for me, what you said is so Jeffrey Epstein was obviously in with Bill Gates and the World Health Organization and all the people that are doing the needlecraft technology. And one of the things he wanted to do was to, and this is very Cthulhu, this is very known of the Cthulhu spirits, is what they do is they want to inject people with their Cthulhu microorganisms.
Yeah,
And it was one of like Jeffrey Epstein's dreams to actually put his DNA in other people. You know, what if like the whole 2020, you know, I don't want to say the word, that era, was them injecting everybody with Jeffrey Epstein's DNA, Cthulhu
Holy shit.
DNA.
That's insane.
It is insane. It's totally insane.
I know. I mean, I don't think you're insane. I think that's just like, holy shit. That's like wild. You know what I mean? That's like, that's like, that's next. I mean, that would be, that would be, it's,
No.
like,
Robert, literally little Jeffrey Epstein like squiddlers inside them,
and
Like,
you know what Renetta said? She said a lot of people that had that needle craft were like that when people would pass, a lot of they found webbing, which was like going back to the spider, like what that this like the whatever it was, the graphene or the black goo or whatever that would be from the needle craft would create like webbing almost inside their bodies, you know
yeah,
which could connect people to AI also and make like humanity 2 or 3.0, which Renetta talked about. Renetta talked about, like, she said that they were actually changing people, that they wanted to change people to a different form of humanity, and she said then they turn up the heat and see who can withstand it. And she said she thought that's why a lot of people were kind of dropping over, from the going back to coming full circle on the whole needlecraft spider thing, just
yeah,
comparing ideas, because you guys seem really alike, like you and her, like different ideas but similar. You know what I mean?
yeah. Well, I gotta watch some more of her stuff and like, because that is very interesting with the spider thing that Troy was talking about. That's does continuously continue to come up, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to talk about this energy vortex just a little bit. So what I kind of gathered was there's something, and now the Epstein Islands is definitely like in the, you know, order of this, but I think it starts with St. Thomas and it goes over to the Anegada Passageway, the trench, the big trench where, the worst of it's coming out. And then it comes down to the Buck Island Reef Zone. And then this is actually a U.S. military outpost here. So this is the National Guard. Supposedly there is no, U.S. Navy or all the other ones. There's only National Guard, but it's, so magically here. And then St. Croix is a part of that. And so this is just organic grid work terminology. Like I feel like it's important to just bring this up because there are organic energy systems here that are doing the purpose of how this is supposed to be functioning,
Yeah,
right? It's
like
like,
for example, I see here with St. Croix, it says St. Croix high crime, but you also have it as a womb gate. What does that mean in terms of like what you're talking about?
yeah, so it's like St. Croix in terms of this connection, this vortex here. St. Croix is where it regenerates. It's where the natural energy, it has the salt river there. There's like a salt river that runs through St. Croix. It's like a
Yeah.
high concentration of salt, like a river like the Dead Sea or something, right? It's like super purifying. Um, and so naturally, St. Croix, in terms of this vortex, is where everything kind of regenerates, where the harmonic energy is supposed to be, where everything that's coming out of that Anagata passage, like all the compromised energy, like all the negative feedback loops and unresolved collective trauma from Epstein's victims, like people that are getting thrown in the trench. Okay, that energy is still there and it has to purify and cleanse somewhere. Like what's unhealed in the waters. So that organically feeds through the womb gate, okay, and it clears planetary emotional fields. And just so everyone knows, anytime that warfare is taken over waters, because this is what we're watching a lot of warfare getting taken over waters. That represents or signals something in governance or whatever that all the blockages are with flow of money, flow of resources, flow of, whatever it is. So that'll signal to us, you know, I guess what's getting tied up between, you know, all of the trauma and all of the drama with all of this. But so there's a lot of problems around flow. Things are backed up, basically. Things are not flowing harmoniously. What I kind of got as a grid worker tip, like for those that actually like care about clearing this, because this actually needs to be cleansed. Like we need massive grid work organizing like now around these areas, and we need to tap into these particular places to try to seal these places in light, to seal the virginic energy of the islands, to, cleanse out the harvesting and loosh from the abuse.
So,
So I,
question about that: do you think now that you've been able to finish your book that you'll like maybe start a Gridwork mission in one of these places here, like, or do you think you'll try? Like,
yeah, I was thinking about it. I mean, of course I want to. I need to. It needs to be done. You know how it is for me. I've just been so like swamped with that book. So I have to wait until like my energy gets to a place that I can hold that field for everyone because um
yeah,
yeah.
a lot. I
Yeah.
understand. You want to do
Yeah.
it right. Like you're not someone who half-asses something. Like that's one thing I know about you. Like when you do something, you put your all into it and you want to see good results. So like, yeah, I could see why you would want your energy to be optimal for that. Because you want to make a difference. Like you want to affect the grid positively. And if your energy is not in an optimal place, you won't be able to do that.
Yeah, you can't be a pure channel. You
Yeah.
really can't. Like if you're, going through something or you're, stressed or whatever it is, like you can't like really kind of, like you said, optimally do the work. But I was getting like womb gate, like so like if you can work with rose quartz crystals, anything that can work to heal feminine energy that you can kind of direct that, I think, down to the Salt River and what's going on in St. Croix. And you can work on a regeneration hub here. Um, Also, you can tune into Buck Island because this is a significant reef. It's where it can stabilize harmonic energy, and you can kind of focus on charging the Caribbean plate through the reef because there's a lot of energy with the minerals of the reef. And it also, when you tap into the reef energy, you're tapping in directly into nerve endings. Literally, those are living nerve endings. So, like, you can work with the nervous system gate of the chain through the reefs, right? Because what's happening is on a deeper level of consciousness, there's a stirring of energy in these chains. Basically, the earth is moving her energy through the chains, awakening, awakening, awakening. Just like we talked about in Venezuela, how all those sacred sites were pushing energy forward, and then change and shift is happening on the top layer, right? So, yeah, it's exposing. Um, but this location here, St. Thomas, this one um this is considered the crown of the vortex. And this one is about this one pulls star codes from Sirius and Pleiades, St. Thomas. So I guess grid workers can focus on golden light here. And then like removing king of terrorism implants out of this location, because this is like, all the king of tyranny, all the king of terrorism. Um, Draco, apathy seals are what are here, apathy seals. So it's like there's some sort of locking gate that creates apathy, like as if something's been like in a vault or it's been sealed off and people can't access it. And then you see how the collective is experiencing massive apathy when it comes to this. I think Pam Bondi said herself, like if they prosecute all these people, then basically the whole system's going to hell. So
But the
they're
thing,
basically saying they're not willing to do it.
like me being a true conspiracy theorist, that's what I feel like. I'm conservative and I voted for Trump and I lean more conservative, but the conspiracy theorist in me says tear the whole system down. Let's start over. Let's have something brand new in there. You know what I mean? Like, not that I don't think that Trump's doing a bad job. I'm just saying, like, in general, I think we need a whole brand new system, in place, like a whole new. I don't know. That's kind of just where I'm at, like with like, but like, yeah, like so yeah, I don't know, like
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, you can't just tear something down though if there's nothing to replace it. Like,
exactly right, because then you would have pure chaos and anarchy, and you can't have that, right? So that's
yeah.
kind of why it's like a lot of us are leaning towards Trump because we're looking at him as like someone from the outside that got in that we can put hope in to make change, you know.
Yeah, well, then you're disappointed because then you realize, Jeffrey Epstein was living over in West Palm Beach and they were practically neighbors. And everyone's on the achrome. Well, where are they getting the achrome from? Well, it's getting harvested off of little Jeffrey Orgy Island.
Oh God. So you think you think he's definitely implicated, Trump?
I think it looks very, very bad for the administration right now. I'll be honest with you. Like, I feel like things look very, very bad.
You know what else I thought was weird too? Like the fact that like a lot of stuff came back redacted. You know what I mean? I didn't, and I think even Rogan pointed that out. He said, that looks really bad when you redact things because like, what are you redacting? What names are you holding back? And what they originally said was they said the stuff they redacted was like CP, right? But like, I don't think so. I don't think that was all that. I think that was named because like because we know actually for a fact we know it wasn't because we know that in the writing that there was stuff that was blacked out. So that was obviously writing that they blacked out. Those were names of people and people, places, and things that the people want to know about, but they're absolutely redacting. That wasn't CP. That if it was CP, that would be like pictures and videos and shit like that. These are words on paper that are blacked out. So that you know what I mean. So that says right there that they're holding stuff back. So I think what the people want to know is what are they holding back? Who are these names that they're not telling us? Why are some names getting out and some names aren't? Yeah. Would you agree with that kind of or no?
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, some people are being protected. I mean, we know this is a protection racket. That's what this is. It's a rape and molestation protection racket. I mean, this is how the whole thing works. Is it's about money, influence, and power of who's getting protected. And so they're fighting tooth and nail between the flow of things with their resources and with finances to be within the protection sphere.
And
And
and I think for a lot of people who are just waking up and people that aren't as deep into conspiracies and stuff as we are, it's hard for them to fathom that the world actually works like this. But it's sad to say that like we're in some kind of Luciferian, I do believe in good. I believe in the powers of good, but I believe that we are absolutely in some kind of Luciferian control system. If you want to call it a prison planet, reptilians, whatever, archons, I don't know. Like it seems like there's some external force that has its grip on this planet, and that's why, that's why these things are able to stay hidden. You know what I mean? It's almost like why do we have so much trouble streaming today and putting this together? And why do we feel like we got targeted yesterday and attacked and everything else? Like it's because this is so hidden on a spiritual and physical level. You know what I mean? It's so dug deep. Then it's so like, I mean, like the secrets that could come up from this are just like probably endless. You know what I mean? But then you're exposing how the world really works, unfortunately. And that's sad that our world is like, our world is protecting pedophiles. You know what I mean? People who want to hurt the most innocent thing on our planet, children. You know what I mean? And women, you know what I mean? Women should always be respected. They're the divine feminine. I know. I'm just saying this for the audience, and children should always be protected because they're our future and they're the innocence. You know what I mean?
people that want to go after, they're not pre-pubescent girls, but most of the victims were post-pubescent girls. I mean, I think you could say like 12 to 16. I mean, I know that there's a lot of information all over the place of different types of victims, but the series that I watched, which I enjoyed watching it because it came from the victim's perspective. It came from like them getting to tell their stories of what happened to them. And what Jeffrey Epstein would do is um he would find girls between the ages of 12 and 16, and he would say, if you come over and give me a massage, I'll give you $200, and if you find another girl to come give a massage, I'll pay you another $200. So he started this like whole pyramid scheme for groping and molesting these girls. Would come over to his West Palm. This is what his whole first um trial was about, when he served like 18 months or something, or 13 months in prison. But he didn't even actually serve because he got to go out and he had like 12 hours like work, so he could go out and work for 12 hours. He did not pay any consequences for anything he ever did, this man. He never did.
That's a shame.
Yeah,
And you
it's
have to
really
wonder,
sad for the victims.
will there be
Yeah.
karmic repercussions? I can't remember if it was you or was it you that we were talking about this? You said like if he's like of a Draco line, there might be a chance where he might not have to suffer repercussions. Was that you who said that?
Yes, yes. I think he is a Draco. I think we are all looking at and watching what a physical incarnation of a draconian soul looks like. Look at this man's face, look at his eyes, look at whatever. That's what he is. Any man who preys on those girls like that is 1000% a draconian tactic. You can look at it at the SS-10 types. What do? Who do they target?
Yeah, women,
pre
children. Yeah,
Prepubescent
yeah.
girls,
They
right?
marry like 12-year-olds over there.
Because they
Yeah, right.
want to rape the virginity. They want to take the innocence. It's a ritual act. It's a consumption act. It's a vampirism act. And it's a traumatic act. A lot of the victims of Jeffrey Epstein said that he would show satisfaction and delight and get turned on and even more hard when he seen that those girls were uncomfortable and wanted to say no. That's when he pushed himself harder and forced the situation on them. He
That's
got off
disgusting. That's
on the
that
fear.
is absolutely disgusting. And those people shouldn't exist in the world. But again, this is the earth we live on, right? This is what we're dealing with here. So, I
Yeah.
know this could be hard for some people to fathom, but like, but it actually, I'm looking in the comments. Like, let me just read you some of these comments. Like, people like Uncle Remus in the comments, he says it's a spiritual battle. They agree with everything we're saying. Kat sees you, or Kat Labine, she says, don't overlook the baby farms. Eric Pearson says, people know them by their fruits. Actions speak louder than words. Can you put what a black hat is? It's just one big family feud over resources, and we are the resource. Colleen Ryder says, justice is coming. Michelle Aubrey says, 12 earliest childbearing age. Uh, Colleen Ryder says, same as the queen, you can see it in her eyes. And then Colleen Ryder said, also, no Gitmo. Did we look at Gitmo, Guantanamo Bay? I think that's around here somewhere, right? Would that be
Yeah,
tapping
yeah,
into this?
we definitely should. I just wanted to real quickly because I had already pulled it up. This is just like some AI generated pictures, but and it's not very good. This is not what I seen like in my vision, but I couldn't get the thing to generate anything closer to it. So, but I mean, this is just kind of giving you like a visual of what like an underwater megacity could potentially look like.
What's sad about this is this has the potential to be beautiful, right? If there wasn't so much heinous activity going on, or like heinous activity tied to it. Like, can you imagine if this was like open to the public, and or I'm sure humans would destroy it, but I mean, like, knowing like the humans, but like, can you imagine if like like this was a benevolent place, like Atlanta, like Atlanta, like supposedly if you look at the stories and the legends we know about Atlantis, like Atlantis was like beautiful like this, right? But like it got corrupted, and they said, why did it get corrupted? Over, like same thing, like pedophilia, black magic, you know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it definitely that's what I said in the beginning when we came in. Like it's a mega city. So Mall World might actually be there.
That'd be hilarious if Mall World was somehow tied to this. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm
like you
telling you,
turn a
like if
corner and
people are
one now
going to
you're in
Mall
Mall
World.
World, and Jeffrey Epstein's like hanging out in Mall World. Oh God, Jesus! Oh God, that's
Oh my gosh. So we're ruining Mall World. But no, like if you're going to Mall World, your astral travel, like you might be going to some of these subaquatic mega cities,
well,
you know?
going to what Renetta said. Renetta talked about that like there was an SSP program, but it wasn't the secret space program. She called it the secret sea program, and she said a lot of people could be taken to these underwater programs, like like these secret sea programs, And I've heard other people say that they were involved in these too, like these underwater, you know, programs,
Yeah.
stuff like
Well,
that.
I think that, it's multidimensional what's happening in these subaquatic installations, like from full cities to like Black Sun marine maritime operation type things like the Leviathan vaults. Like that's like when you tie it into Cthulhu, like the Cthulhu comes in because that is totally like a Leviathan energy. And Cthulhus typically live in trenches. The annegated trench would be the perfect passage for that thing to come in and through. But I don't think that these megacities were constructed by humans. I think that this was some sort of engineered structure that could even be phasing in from a different dimension. That somehow
Wow.
they're phasing it into the subaquatic portions. When I was remote viewing, I got, yeah, like 6,000, 8,000 meters in depth that it was, and like I said, they had different metals that they used in the water as well that they could also, I could see that there was some sort of gravitational cloaking that they had. So like to, keep visibility from there. But one thing that I thought, like I tried to get a picture of it. So you see like these things shooting up, basically. I was kind of psychically seeing that they were rising vertically from the sea, passing through the water, and then they would shoot their craft out of the water, through these like tubes. And then the USOs would transition into aerial vehicles. They would go from that, and so it's some sort of like phasing technology, and then they ride up out of the water into aerial vehicles. And then so that congressman was saying that like what the military from an aerial perspective is seeing that they're seeing craft as big as like 200 meters or whatever, or like the size of a football field that's coming up out of
Holy
the
shit,
water.
like a
They're trying,
mothership, like a
yeah, like they're
mothership.
trying to track them. They're trying to
Wow,
track them. Yeah.
that's insane. That holy shit, a mother. Oh wow, that's in like
And to think that Jeffrey Epstein Island could have tunnels that are taking people down to these subaquatic installations.
holy shit.
It's freaking mind blowing. I mean, it's just mind blowing. Like if you go back to this, like here's that massive trench that cuts through, and Jeffrey Epstein's islands are like right here.
Huh.
I mean, they're like, I think this is something different. I think these are his islands over here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you see how it's right in the hot zones, the subaquatic zones where all of this could be going on. I know it sounds a little far out there, but I don't think it really is.
I don't think it is at all. I think you're right on point, you know? I really do. And I told you this yesterday when we were on the phone, or I think the day before, that Puerto Rican trench, that looks like a shark or a reptile or something. Like, like it looks like there's some kind of ancient fish. Like, like like the shape of it, like I don't know. I don't know if that would mean anything at all, but I mean, it's just, uh, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And just think about like, how all this was coming up with Venezuela. Like, think about how much they could be smuggling. I
Oh,
mean, through these islands that are completely off limits.
yeah, I know,
I
right?
mean, they're still off limits. I mean, does that not like blow your mind away that nobody can still access Jeffrey Epstein's islands?
I
That
would
they're
love to get an
still,
interview with someone who's living on one of these islands to see what they're reporting going on. So if like anybody sees this and you live on these islands or you live close to these islands or you have access to these islands, email me at typicalskeptic1@gmail.com because I want to get some interviews with some people who live around this area, and I'd like to find out what's going on. Me and Indy have talked about taking a trip there. You know what I mean? We're gonna get some jet skis and we're gonna we're gonna dress up in costume. We're gonna infiltrate the islands,
I
like
will not be wearing this hat. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna need like a wig. Well, I guess the locals all along, I think this is what is this? This is St. Thomas? Or I'm sorry. Um, St. Thomas. Oh my gosh. So the locals, what I was seeing through stuff I've watched, is that they all just like are leery of it. A lot of people don't go near these islands. They stay away from it. They know that if they come out in a boat or they come out in their skis, that something bad's going to happen to them. I'm telling you, these are not okay right now. What's going on here?
yeah,
There's black ops shit going on here.
yeah.
Like,
Like I think people in the chat agree. Anchor Haven says Monarch Dome, like a MK Ultra Monarch deep underground military installation. You know who we got to get on this too is we got to get Gene Decode to see what he. I mean, I'd love to see what he thinks about this. To see if he's in line with what you know what I mean, like for
yeah, yeah, definitely.
because he's the dumb guy. I mean, I'm not dumb. I didn't mean like deep underground military bases. I mean,
Yeah,
he
yeah,
he knows about yeah, like I don't know.
for sure. Well, he would have a lot of really good intel. He always does.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that we could tie into this. I mean, it's really endless, to be honest with you. I think, oh, one of the things I kind of picked up on was that, oh, yeah, I get really sick when I tune into this, but I really got that there was a lot of connection to Ukraine and the war in Ukraine, and that because of like the high smuggling capacity that's here, that it's not a far stretch also to say that they wouldn't be harvesting the organs from war through the islands as well. Because obviously there's maritime law. So I mean anybody could get here via ship or any sort of like shipping route. Um, that there might be some like organ harvesting development here.
Yeah.
And then you also know that Epstein was, I mean, he was a mule for all of the 13 bloodlines, right?
Talk
The
about that.
Zionists, the Jesuits, the Freemasons, going back to the Freemasons, why like the Clintons are so involved. So yeah, connected to all the family lines, like the 13 bloodlines, like I think Farnese is one, Rothschilds, obviously the Windsors, you
Yeah.
know, like that ties them right into Buckingham Palace. I mean, this is when you talking earlier, like you're saying this is a global operation, like yeah, all those families, like what I don't understand is like Jeffrey Epstein is like the Great Gatsby. Like, how did he have this premier allure that, every single person of influence and wealth did a dance with? Where did he come from? Because as far as I could see, his history is it's not very it sounds like he had to steal some money to get to where he was, and it sounds like he
Not
was
just that, but like he could be using black magic. He could have witches working for him. You know what I mean? Like he get a lot. You know, like Ghislaine could be a witch. She could be. I mean, like he could have a lot. So a lot of times people in power they have like like hardcore like witches. Like Satanists. You know what I mean? You never know what he had. Because like you like well, how does someone get that kind of allure and charm? And it's not like he was like some like you know. I don't know. It's not like he was like I don't know. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what the Dracos do. The Dracos are alluring, they are charming, they are handsome or attractive in some way. They use their sexual prowess and sexual infiltration. They have all kinds of third eye disabling technologies where they can literally lock up an angelic human's field just by being in contact with it. They'll lock it up. I
Yeah.
mean, you go immobilized, you go frozen, you actually can't move. They place blockages in front of your third eye so you can't see. There's so many veils and masks and tools and technology and weapons that they're using on you. It's ultimate psychic annihilation and manipulation as soon as you come in contact with the Draconian's field because they do have higher powers. I mean, it's yeah, so that was what I got from Epstein's energy was just when tuning in with him was that he's using this leverage not only in business deals because I mean in business deals because there is a guy I can't remember his name that he did a business deal with, but I guess he fell in love with them and supposedly they have a reputation of having a gay relationship.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so I mean he was seducing men and women.
I mean, is there anything this guy didn't do sexually? I mean, Jesus Christ, he was like a sexual vampire. You know what
He
I
was a
mean?
sexual Gatsby. Yeah.
I mean, I mean,
Yeah.
it's actually sickening. You know what I mean? It's actually sickening. Like how you know what I mean? Like it's like
Is it
mixed
really that
meals in the
sickening?
chat.
Is this not every like I don't want to say like every male's dream, but like, men that are, high into like money and politics and government, like Epstein was living their fucking dream. He
I
was
mean,
living their
minus
dream.
the human trafficking and the child sex and all that. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
unless they do aspire to it.
But no, that is their dream. That is their dream for these old perverted 40, 50, 60-year-old men to be getting to pop the cherry of these young girls. Well, I'll tell you what that is. It's a small dick complex. It's because their dicks are not big enough. And so they have to go screw all these little girls. That's what it is. Think about how selfish and disgusting that
Yeah,
is.
it is. It is. It really is. It's sickening.
Yeah. Yeah, we could go on and on about this for sure. I think the main thing for me is I really don't like, because what I'm getting is like whatever is going on in West Palm Beach, Mar-a-Lago, like all that, you know, this would be the point that they're transferring everything. So if this is about harvesting achrome down here, they're bringing it right over up to here, and this is how it's getting to all the people. This is how it's getting to the elite, is through West Palm Beach. And they own the police, they own anyone and anything that could actually put a stop to it.
Yeah.
Own the judges.
It's a, like I said, it's a whole Luciferian system that's like it goes from like the top to the local authorities, everything. Sometimes people are involved in it and they don't even know they're involved. You know what I mean? Like they're working on the side of the evil and they don't realize they're part of the evil. They're protecting evil. They're
Yeah.
harvesting evil.
Yep. Sure is. Well, does anyone have any questions about this
I'm
deep
looking down
dive
at
that
the
we did?
chat. Guys, do you have any questions? Put your questions in the chat. Now we have 20 minutes till my next show. So, you know, okay, so we got some people. We got Anchor Havens in the audience, Missy Hill's in the audience, John Whitberg, the SSP author, is in the audience. Hey, John. We got some people, Missy Hill, Derek Woo Riders is in the chat. We got a bunch of Sovereign Cosmic. We got a lot of people in here today. So yeah.
Yeah, does,
Colleen Ryer says Gitmo again. So how do you think Guantanamo Bay ties into this?
let me see. Hmm. Um, we need to look up where exactly is Guantanamo Bay?
I thought it was by Cuba, right? Isn't Guantanamo Bay by Cuba, guys? I think like um
Because I don't think it's in here for me to find the exact location. I need to put it in exactly how it would be listed unless it's not in here at all. Can you look that up for me, Rob? Maybe look up, hang on, let me look.
East Cuba, she said. They said East Cuba. I was yeah.
Southeastern Cuba.
Oh,
Oh,
this Derek Rubrider said this. This is a really interesting question. He said, Indigo Angel, your thoughts on Iran burning the statues of Baal in the cities with the Star of David on top of the statue?
yeah, I don't think it's going to be listed in here. Oh, yeah. In which country?
Iran.
Iran.
They're having a big overthrow of the government in Iran, which is good.
Yeah. No, it's very interesting. I think they're tying Baal into Judaism. That well, it was Baal and Yahweh, like these two gods were at war with each other, right? But I think a lot like this fractured a lot of the believers, and I think some people started to actually worship Baal. And so, some of their rituals and some of their rites actually ties back to Baal. And, if the burnings are coming from, depends if they're coming from the IRGC or is it coming from, the freedom loving sovereign like beings of Iran, because like, I feel like typically the people of Iran somewhat side with Israel is what I've seen anyways, because Israel speaks to a lot of trying to free their people.
Yeah,
But um but you know that the Islamic IRGC would definitely be doing that, you know?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's kind of who they hired in some of those places, like in Baghdad and stuff, to destroy some of the ancient sites too. Like that was a conspiracy theory going around that like that the CIA or some other black ops organization hired Islamic terrorists to destroy ancient sites around the world so people wouldn't know the real history or have a clue about what was going on with history.
Interesting. So yeah, Guantanamo Bay. I mean, I just put that over here. I can't say for sure. Southeast. Maybe.
It's right here. Here it is. See? See where my cursor is? There's Guantanamo right here. So it's what's weird is it's right in the middle of this triangle, kind of at the bottom.
Okay, I can't see your cursor. Do you? Oh,
So go look at Jamaica. Now look north of Jamaica. No, no, like perpendicular to Jamaica, like this. Like see where? Okay, like in between Jamaica and Turks, in between Jamaica and Turks Caicos, right here in the middle. Like
okay, here.
no, no, over, right, like right here. Like shit,
Oh,
I can't use my right here, right here.
sorry. Oh, I can't see your finger or where you point. I can
Okay,
only see
look at
mine.
Santiago de Cuba. Like okay, like
Okay, okay, up here.
yeah, Guantanamo's right
Oh,
next
okay,
to
I
it.
see it. I
Yeah,
see it. I'm
yeah,
sorry. Thank you. Thank you. Well, that's so weird. Every time I put it in, it would not pull it.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. So like, yeah, let's look at that. Well, I mean, it's definitely following the chain of the islands. Um, it could be like, SSP. I mean, it all is like tying in, that's for sure. I think this whole area, all the way down to Venezuela, and this whole area is like being activated. Every installation, every point, every military spot, it's pulling in energy and tying into it on some level. Um, yeah, it's halfway through from West Palm Beach. It looks like, it's about a fourth of the way down compared to where like the main energy vortex point is, and then continuing that all the way down to Venezuela. So it could be that there's just multiple sites along the ridge. That's how it's working within this containment field, like it's containing, um, different operations within it. So, I mean, that's kind of what I'm getting, just tuning into that. What do you tune in with anything, Rob, specifically?
So basically the same thing. I didn't tap into it too much, but that's kind of what I'm getting. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
This is the Bermuda, so that's pretty adjacent to that, which is very interesting. I think a lot of this ancient Atlantean destructive um, looking glass technology, future incarnation projections, all of the cloud uploading. I think a lot of this like AI comes out of the Bermuda, to be honest with you. I think it's like the main Stargate portal for the black, dark AI wave spirals and the red AI wave spirals. And that infiltrates these passages and corridors. This is a very highly activated area. I mean, this is its original purpose is planetary regeneration and rebirth and the virginic energy, right? It should be, if it was healthy, this is just to let you know, like our planet's not healthy. What's happening here isn't healthy. Everything is being harvested for some greater, whether they're trying to control the dimensions on Earth. They're trying to control the maritime. They're trying to control the biological energy streams. They're trying to control the timelines from these points. I mean, a lot of timeline hijacking from the Bermuda. It's I mean, I was picking up on this altering Mount Shasta, like these you could say like the spike matrix is coming out of that, and that it's spiking all the way to Mount Shasta. So I mean, I think it's really governing the whole quadrant of this side of the world, like how it um, hijacks the oceanic grids and ridges. Again, I think it's about free energy. I think they're harvesting these chains for free energy, is what it is on a deeper level. But I think it's about we need to look at it in terms of like how to reclaim the memory, how to you know, again, like for grid workers to tune into some of these vortex locations and work on clearing the womb gates, the womb ridges, um, the crown womb areas, because that whole area up here at the top, that was the crown. That's the womb. The reef is the nervous system. And the passageway of the trench, this is where it's all going down. This is where we have like karmic loop cycles that are getting stuck. Basically, okay, New Earth prophecy, Rob, is that we're going to get so much light in the planet that all of the deepest, darkest places where evil resides is in the trenches. It's in the canyons and it's in the rift zones on the planet. So we have to, for evil to be dispensed, the light has to go into the deepest dark. It has to go into the trench zones. So absolutely, this Anagata passage has everything to do with transformation and prophecy into a higher consciousness earth, a new earth where it's able to, sustain the capacities of like coherence, compassion, love, unity, all the things. Um, and that this passage would be a place that light would have to infiltrate because it would be holding the deepest darkness. So this is about reclaiming the grids. I'm putting this information out because this is about reclaiming the grids. This is about, you know, we can work on this as grid workers, believe it or not. I know it seems so overwhelming and it seems like it's something that's so out of our control. And that's what they want us to think. They want us to be, so just overwhelmed and traumatized that our fields get scattered and we don't have the resources within us to work on these things energetically and think that like our prayers, our meditation, our energy work, our movement of energy could clear things like a CIA outpost for human trafficking distribution. We absolutely can clear these things. But it's about collective mind power and us shifting, in unity and bringing all of our energy into this portion of the Western Hemisphere and clearing out the evil. What do you think, Rob?
I agree. I agree 100%. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds great.
I mean, well, this was an amazing show. I thought this was really great. I mean, yeah, I have another show in 10 minutes, but I mean, this was like, I'm so glad we were able to do this, and like finally get it done, like, I think it was a really important show.
Yeah, we had a hard time getting here. I'm glad that we were able to do it. So we'll see if anything comes through and maybe we can do another update on it soon.
Hell yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you want to tell people where they can find you and all that stuff and how to follow you and yeah and anything else you want to promote? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for having me and providing me the space to speak. Yeah, you guys can find me at my YouTube channel, IndigoAngel. I haven't been that consistent with getting content out recently because I've just been so overwhelmed. But yeah, I'm gonna find my groove again at some point. But the biggest thing is my book is coming out. It's gonna be available on 2/22/26, and you can get that at my website, indigoangel222.com. And if you like this content, you want to learn more about Gridwork, basically everything that you want to know about Gridwork is in the book. Gridwork protocols, Gridwork 101, beginner levels to advanced levels, how to work with ley lines, stargates, what is a stargate, how to tell what's organic, what's artificial, um, everything for facilitation, actually putting together your own sessions, is in there. So it's a training. I
Well,
mean, really.
so you've actually included your grid work training in your new book. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
huge.
Yep. Everything that one would need to know. So definitely allow them to keep up with my updates and kind of know what I'm talking about, as they get more prepared for, gridwork guardianship themselves, because we're all meant to kind of step into those stewardship roles on the planet. And um, because that is the spiritual technology, that builds the new earth. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's exciting. So yeah, can't wait. And yeah, thanks for having me on, Rob. It was so much fun.
Hell yeah, hell yeah, and happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
All right, guys. I will see. I have Breakaway Ray coming on at 7 p.m. Eastern to do tarot readings, and then 9 p.m. Eastern I'll be on with Missy Hill. So I'll be on all night for you guys because that's what we do on holidays here. I don't ever take a break. So,
Hmm.
but I'll see you guys in a little bit. Thank you, Indy. You're awesome. You're my favorite person to work with in podcasting, and I will be seeing you guys soon. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon. All right.